Hey, what's up everybody? It is Kellen here from Start Your Systems, and welcome to another flashback video here on the channel, where today we're going to be playing ATV Offroad Fury 2, one of the most iconic quad games of all time. And man, this game is amazing. It was way ahead of its time, to be honest. It came out around, when MX Superfly, MX 2002 was coming out. This is before MX Unleashed, MX vs. ATV Untamed, all those games like that. So, yeah, we're just going to play it. We're going to do some supercross racing today, show off this game a little bit, and then I'm also curious to know if you guys like this and you want to see more of it. What kind of stuff do you want to see? Do you want to see some career mode gameplay? Do you want to see some track showcases? What other things do you want to see about this game? Because this is literally my childhood in a nutshell, and I want to dive into it. So let's jump in. So like I said, I wanted to do some of the supercross tracks today. We're going to go right to the very end of the pro supercross tracks, which this is Kingston. So it's kind of like the final round, end all be all round, whatever you want to call it, of the supercross tracks. And I'm playing on widescreen, so I know that the aspect of it probably looks a little bit weird. If I did 4x3, everything would be a little bit tighter and closer together and stuff like that. But I don't know, just kind of cool to play it on full screen, since back in the day it was a 4x3 ratio game, and I played it on a 4x3 television. But this game, to me, is way ahead of its time in a lot of regards. The supercross in the game was a ton of fun. Like, honestly, I think I played this game 2 or 3 years, like primarily just for the supercross tracks in the game. The tracks are a ton of fun. They feel pretty realistic, even for like riding a quad. The tracks, like the gravity that you have while you're on the quad, the tracks that they designed for the game just fit really well. Like this track, aside from a double over-under tunnel right here, feels like it could be a real track. Like, it's tight, compact, it's in a smaller stadium. This is when tracks would come out, or games would come out and the tracks in the game were huge. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but like the stadiums were massively overscaled, the tracks were way overscaled, which this one of course is a little bit too, but it didn't feel like a real supercross track ever because of it. And this one, I mean, my lap time is I think this is from the start of the lap that it's showing that 114, but I think you can do like 104s, 103s, which like is pretty long for a football stadium supercross, but like that's, right in the alley of what a normal supercross track is and was back then, racing two-strokes. So I think it's pretty cool, like how much they nailed of like the realistic aspects of supercross racing for a quad game. And obviously there was ATV Offroad Fury 3 and 4 after this, but for whatever reason I feel like with ATV Offroad Fury 2, and maybe it's just the nostalgia trip, but I feel like ATV Offroad Fury 2 really nailed it the best when it came to like how everything was supposed to feel and look for, like, supercross racing on a quad, I guess. It's basically just a wide open game. Like, you never have to let off the throttle. There you go, 104, 57. But option lines aplenty, so many different things that you can do on these tracks. Tough blocks don't move because it's an old game, but I mean, really, visually, it's not that bad. This is 480p that I'm playing the game in, and I don't feel like it looks all that bad. Like, it doesn't look like the edges are really blurry or the game is super pixelated or anything like that. So again, I think way ahead of its time, and kind of cool to go back and relive some of these tracks. So this is Kingston, but I want to check out like 3 or 4 other tracks in this video today. So let's jump over to another one of the top end pro supercross tracks. All right, so this is the second biggest track, if you want to call it that. This is called Ventura, and this one maybe is a little bit more, I don't know if you want to call it out there, but definitely has some bigger things going on about it. Look at that supercross triple, just super short on it right there. And I haven't played this track probably in about 20 years, so I'm about to learn it with you guys. I did a little bit of a lap on Kingston before I played the video so that I could get a little bit acclimated with the game again. Now we're just relearning Ventura here, and look at the triple to the step on, step off, massive jump through there. And it looks like, okay, yeah, so we got this table right here, come through here, and then this is 7 years before we got Fort Dodge in MX vs. ATV Reflex. We had to jump up into this little stadium balcony and back down. And honestly, like, now playing this again, that feels so much like Fort Dodge. It's honestly kind of freaky, because now we're even going into a whoop section. Again, we got the double tunnels right here. But honestly, I don't really feel like that would be that crazy, like to have something like that in Supercross eventually, if they could find a structure that works. But these tracks, man, are so like creative, but also realistic in some regard too. Like, the jumps feel like they are correct for the time period of how big things were. Like that supercross triple is massive, but they were pretty massive back then. Like doing supercross triples on a 2-stroke were no slouch whatsoever. There we go. Perfectly greased the backside of that guy. And then get enough air to go over this. Oh, I shouldn't have seat bounced. Ooh. Definitely easy to pretty much quad into this corner, but still kind of cool. Like they even got the little like leader light poles on the side of the track. And then, yeah, like it is a wide open game. I don't ever really have to let off the throttle to do anything in this game, but it's so fun how like in a way technical it is, because it's just about like precise timing on some of these jumps, and even getting onto the whoops. Like you don't need to lean back to go through the whoops, but there's a way of like getting up on top of them and actually blitzing the whoops in this game, which again, so far ahead of its time. Like we were absolutely not blitzing whoops in any moto game by this point in time. MTX Moto Tracks, I would say, is like the first thing that looked like blitzing whoops, and that came another 2 years after this, and that was kind of just like an animated like looking weird thing. And then MX Unleashed 3 years after this game came around, and then you could like properly blitz whoops. So yeah, like I said, they're so far ahead of its time for so many aspects. Like honestly, I'm visually remembering now how much I wish that the makers of this game, which was Rainbow Studios, but like the people that were really behind this would get together and make a moto game, which they did. So it's pretty cool to kind of relive this a little bit and see some of these tracks, and obviously a lot of fun to race your Ghost and see if you can go a little bit faster, time things a little bit better, get a little bit of an edge there. Look at it. Oh, I thought we were going to get right up on top, but 3 jump the whoops. We're Cooper webbing our way through, and then my Ghost got me right back at the end. Fun track here in Ventura. Let's check out a few more. So I jumped back to the 3rd track on the Pro Supercross list. This is Roanoke, and this one to me is super unique because it actually dug into the ground, which is, now we're teetering into the unrealistic stuff when it comes to supercross tracks. Like they're not going to dig into a stadium floor to build a track, but you'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. Again, pretty standard layout stuff. Like we got these on-offs before a finish line jump. We got a supercross triple into a double. I liked how the finish line tables worked. I remember this, like we used to have rollers down start straights all the time, and here's the bridge that goes over the track, and then you come through here, just clear a little dragon's back thing, and then a supercross triple again, just perfectly clear it. Like it's not even that hard to play this game well, which is what's kind of fun about it. Like you don't need to overthink it. And then here we go under the tunnel here, swoop down to the bottom of the hill, and then come back out. I think there is a bigger line if I jump. Oh no, I was gonna say I thought there was a bigger line if I jump all the way out of there. But yeah, again, like it's not like the most insane hard rhythm type of track, but it's like very unique. Again, thinking outside the box a little bit with the track design. And then still it fits into a stadium. You basically have 6 lanes going up and down the track, and that's pretty much what a standard football stadium looks like. I think that this one is a little bit bigger than a standard football stadium. Obviously, like the scaling wise, it is way bigger, but I'm just talking about from a lane standpoint. I feel like it doesn't quite fit into what a normal football stadium would look like. But either way, I feel like they did such a good job about making tracks that were not outrageous, fit in well, look good, played good too, because this is obviously a really fun track. It's just simple and you can kind of mindlessly shred it. And then they had a whole career mode and different systems throughout it, and you would unlock the vehicles, which I just use a cheat code to unlock all the vehicles. But it might even be fun to do a bit of a career mode playthrough where like we go through and see what it's like riding the absolute piece of crap quads in this game, how bad they were, and then how fun it is to get the better quads and upgrade and stuff like that. So yeah, this is Roanoke. Let's check out a couple more tracks, including some amateur supercross tracks. So as you progress through the game, you go from amateur supercross or like amateur waypoint racing, amateur motocross to pro supercross. And this is one of the amateur supercrosses. It's actually the last amateur supercross on the list. It is Fairbanks, for Fairbanks, Alaska. And to me, I always felt like this track, like low-key should have been in the pro tracks, because the amateur tracks very much are like really rolled out sections, which yes, this looks very rolled out compared to what we were playing. But even so, like if I showed you another one of the amateur tracks, I might like go to the very beginning amateur track and show you how rolled out everything is. You'd be like, oh, that makes sense, because this one looks way bigger than that. I love the finish line jump on this one because there was a way to like check up and downside it perfectly. It's got a couple of these like mogul whoop section things in here, which were kind of meh. Like I didn't really like it, but whatever. Just kind of another little aspect of the track, and then you go back under the tunnel and you're out onto the main start straight. So Like I said, it's not like it was the most in-depth supercross track, but it was fun because it was just like simple like that. And like even right there, doing the rhythm through the dragon's back, for example, was kind of unique. You got a fun little step on, step off that, again, it feels built right. And like honestly, the jumps too, they have little like lips across the jumps in many different areas that allow you to catch like a little bit of air, so you can either like low line a section, or right here you got the split section to the outside. We're coming up a little bit short on that triple, but there was so many different ways that you could connect the track, even as simple as it looks. Let's see if we can downside this guy perfectly. No, a little bit long right there. Now we're racing our ghost. But yeah, the amateur supercross tracks, like I'm on the highest level quad that's available in the game, which is called a Ravage Talon, and you definitely did not have this quad unlocked by that point, so it's a little bit, you know, like unfair that I'm using it on this track, because the reality is you'd be on a like lesser quad trying to connect all these rhythms and jumping stuff really far, but it is kind of fun to just get on the fastest quad in the game and shred all these tracks and see what they feel like and what they played like. And like I said, I liked Fairbanks. Felt like it should have been in the pro track rotation, but that's okay. It's still a very good novice track or amateur track. And we're going to try to catch our ghost. We're going to come up a little bit short. So let me show you guys what a very basic amateur track looks like, and then we'll end it with taking a look at one more pro track. All right, so if you want to see what a basic amateur supercross track in the game looks like, this is Amherst. This is the actual second track on the list, but it is super basic. I mean, step on, step off. I'm not even have to do anything. I'm just going through the rhythm sections. But I do remember that the tutorial in the game taught you a lot about how to play the game and what you should be doing in the game on this track. So it's almost kind of like the tutorial track. And I think that Supercross the game, when they made their Futures track, took some inspiration from these tracks, because it's just back and forth, small double, very awkward lanes. It is what it is, though. Like, you're supposed to learn about the game, learn about these tracks by playing these tracks, or learn about the game by playing these tracks. So makes sense to me the way it was, and like I wasn't really bummed by it. There's the tough blocks never moving for you. I haven't really talked in this video much about how old I was when this game came out. I was 9. I was born in 93. So, like I said, to me, this is very much like right in the wheelhouse of my childhood. I was very into Supercross by this point in time. I was going to a lot of races in Southern California with my dad and watching them on TV. And I had no idea really much about quads, because I grew up riding and racing dirt bikes. So by this point, I'd already been riding for several years. Was very comfortable on a dirt bike, and I think I rode a quad maybe like a year or two after this came out, and I hated it, so I was pretty over it after that point. But this game like genuinely got me a little bit interested in like, oh, maybe quads are like kind of fun and cool, and you know, kudos to all the dudes that rip quads, because I absolutely would have no fun ripping a quad. Like, they look like they would kill you in an instant if you crash hard on them. But yeah, like I said, 9 years old, just playing this game a lot, jamming out to the soundtrack, which is very good. I have it off, obviously, for copyright reasons and stuff like that, but a really good soundtrack in this game, and, you know, fun kind of career mode dynamic of progressing through. It wasn't as in-depth as MTX Moto Tracks that we've done a playthrough on before, but still a well-put-together game. And like I said, of all the ATV Offroad Furies, this one, it's the most nostalgic to me, and I come back to it a lot as, like, you know, low-key had a lot of elements to this game that we look back on and go, damn, man, they nailed a lot of cool things about this game. So one more track. We'll take a look at another Pro Supercross track to wrap this up and send you guys on your way. And let's see what we got. All right, the final track we're going to take a look at here is called Prescott, and it is part of the Pro Supercross tracks like I mentioned. This one, if I remember right, has a couple technical-ish rhythm sections. I'm trying to remember exactly how they're supposed to go, but we'll try to learn them as we play here. And to me, this one, I grew up watching the bar-to-bar videos on repeat, and this track, to me, just felt so much like Dallas. Like Dallas 99 always came to my mind with this track, so I felt like I was always playing Dallas 99 with this track. I think that this is the rhythm section I'm talking about that's technical, but I might be wrong. So yeah, triple in like a tiny little pocket to land into, then triple again, because then you could double in and do a completely different option. And then here's the finish line jump. And then this is why it felt so much like Dallas to me, because Dallas had this thing where it would jump over the start and land on the backside of like a roller or something like that, which we see so much now in Supercross. Like, it was not a thing forever, and then suddenly it's just a thing that happens all the time now. But yeah, this track, cool that it had a split lane for the whoops, but I feel like the left side was pretty OP because it had only one double. This one you had to do two, and the berms were super nice on the inside for some reason, so it just made no sense to go way out there. Let me see if we can take the alternate line right here, which is double in, and you go 3, and you go 3 out. Yep, there's the other line. So I want to try to land in that nice little pocket one more time and do one more lap on this track. But yeah, this is ATV Offroad Fury 2. Like I said, it is a masterpiece for its time, if you will. I know a lot of people that play moto games now or follow the channels that are, you know, popular with moto games probably have no idea about a lot of these games, mainly because you guys just weren't born when these games came out. And I get it. Like, it's kind of weird to go back and look at these weird old games and be like, well, we've progressed, obviously, like MX bikes and the supercross games and MX's ATV. Like, there's a lot of fun aspects about those games, but there's also a lot of cool history in these games that I always like to go back and revisit. So if you guys will, you know, fancy to watch a little bit more of this stuff, I'd be very keen to know what you want to see. Do you want to see some free ride, freestyle, motocross, enduro, waypoint? Like, what about this game do you want to see? Happy to dive into a little bit more of it because I love it, and very happy to dig in and play it a little bit with you guys today. So thanks for tuning in to another Flashback Fridays video here on Start Your Systems. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about this game, let me know in the comment section below. Happy to get down there and chat with you guys, but we'll see you guys in the next one. So long for now.